This video is to help you refresh your memory on how to solve two-step equations. I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. You can pause if you need and go back. It's up to you. So, the key to solving equations is to get the variable by itself. So if you look at this variable, this x, it's on an island, it's by itself, it's isolated. To isolate, to get it by itself, it means that the variable, or in this case x, is all by itself on one side of the equal sign. Okay, so that's what we want to try to do. How do we do this? How do we go about doing it? We have to use inverse operations. Inverse operations is how we get the variable by itself because inverse operations help us undo each other. So, adding is undone by subtraction. So if you see here, plus 5, if you have a plus 5 and you subtract 5, you get to 0. Same thing with subtraction. It's undone by addition. We have subtraction. We're going to undo it with adding 3 to get to 0. Multiplication is undone by division. So a lot of times instead of doing divide by 3 like this, I just show it like, hey, divide by 3. And we're going to cross that out and we're left with x. And then multiplying is done, division is undone or by multiplying. If we notice here, 6 times 6 gets us x by itself. Or if you have a fraction, in this case 1, this x divided by 6 is the same thing as 1, 6x. So we can still multiply it by 6. This is our multiplicative inverse. Cancel that, we're left with x. Okay, another visual to help you is this one right here. If you want to copy that down, you can. It's up to you. Okay, so what are the steps? The steps to solving a two-step equation. Step 1 is that you're going to add or subtract. And you're going to add or subtract the term without the variable. So, what's it going to look like? It's going to look like you have the x, and there's going to be a number right next to the x, and then there's going to be a plus or minus another number that doesn't have an x. That's the number that you're going to get rid of with adding and subtraction. The number that's attached to the x is going to be the number that you get rid of multiplying and dividing, which is our second step. Okay? So, what does that mean? Let me show you. I'm going to show you 4 examples total. Okay, first step in all of these is going to be draw a line down the equal sign. What I like to do is I like to circle the term with the variable because then that means that whatever is on this side of the equal sign, but not in the circle, I have to get rid of first. So, this term here, this minus 4, doesn't have a variable, so that means that I can get rid of it by doing the inverse operation of subtraction, which is adding. I'm going to add 4 to both sides. If I add 4, these cancel out, that gets us to 0, and we're left with 3x is equal to 17 plus 4. 17 plus 4 gives me 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay? Now I have 3x is equal to 21. 3x, and we're right next to each other. That means that they're multiplying, so the inverse operation of multiplying is dividing. So I'm going to divide each side by 3. These cancel out. I'm left with x is equal to 21 divided by 3 gives me 7. Okay, let's try this one. This one looks a little bit different because I have x, negative x divided by 3 plus 1. So I'm going to circle this term with the variable, all of it. This plus 1 I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. These cancel out. I'm left with negative x divided by 3 is equal to negative 7 minus 1. Those are the same signs. I get negative 8. Okay, so now if I look here, I have negative x times 3. So I'm going to get rid of this division by multiplying, but I also want to get rid of this negative. So I'm going to multiply by negative 3 because a negative times a negative cancel each other out. So on this side I'm left with x. On this side I need to multiply by negative 3. If I use Mr. Multiple Vision, I have a negative times a negative is a positive. So I get x is equal to 24. And that's my answer. Okay, 2 more quick examples. Alright, if you notice, this first example has the equal sign in a different place. It doesn't matter. We're still going to draw a line down the equal sign. I'm still going to circle the term with the variable. and I need to get rid of this plus 7 first. So I'm going to use adding or subtracting first. In this case, I'm going to subtract because I already have a plus here. So I'm going to do the opposite. So I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. Okay, these cancel out. I'm left with 15 minus 9 gives me 6. And here I have negative 4x. Okay. Negative 4x is multiplied against x, so I need to use division to get rid of this. So I'm going to do divided by negative 4. Okay, so these cancel each other out. I'm left with 6 divided by negative 4. I can reduce that to negative 3 over 2 is equal to x, which if you guys know, you can either leave it like this, you can divide it and get 1 1/2, or you could put it as a decimal, negative 1.5. Any of these are correct. Okay, one last one with a twist. You guys notice that fraction? Don't worry, I'm going to show you how to do it. Get rid of it quick. Okay, first things first, line down the middle, down the equal sign, not the middle. Circle the term with the variable. I need to get rid of this plus 22 first, so I'm going to subtract 22 from both sides. These cancel out. I have 3/5 x is equal to 28 minus 22 gives me 6. Alright, so the fraction. This is when I like to use the multiplicative inverse, because when you divide by a fraction, you're just going to flip it, right? So I'm actually going to just multiply by 5/3 on both sides. Notice how the 5 and the 3 changed places. So here the 3 was on top, now the 3's on the bottom. That means that we can cancel these out. And I'm left with x is equal to, right now I need to multiply straight across. I'm going to put 1 underneath the 6, multiply straight across, and I get 30. 1 times 3 is 3. And 30 divided by 3 gives me 10. Circle that. Alright, hopefully this video was a good review. You can practice on IXL. Thanks for watching.